Hey, what's up, guys? This is COBRA1 here, and I'm going to be interviewing Dank Memes for Dragon Teens. If you're wondering why this just came out of the blue, we were talking about this and decided to keep it quiet. This is actually an earlier scheduled date by Jake's request, but nonetheless, I'm still happy about it. Alright, let me introduce the moderator of Dank Memes for Dragon Memes. What's up, Jake?
Hey man, thanks for having me.
Of course.
Thanks for doing this at a weird time of day. I appreciate it.
Oh, I got you, dude. I love doing YouTube. So, the reason for this interview, first question, we got others along the way, but I want you to get off your chest what's been going on and speak your side of it. So, my first question for you is, what happened between you and Cotton Hill, and who the fuck is Cotton Hill?
Well, so let's start on the second thing first. So Cotton Hill is Staff Sergeant Michael DeSoli, drill sergeant, although he's not like on the trail. He's in HHC 197th Brigade. He was in the machine gun directorate.
No, I'm doing something right now.
He's not, he doesn't do anything really with trainees anymore, and he's now off on his own thing. While all this illegal shit's going on. So I think the best way is to start from the beginning. So I went through OSIT in 2015. And Cotton, at that point, was on Instagram and posted a lot of infantry shit. I was, a brand new PFC, and I was like, I follow this guy, see what he has to say. So I followed him with my personal account, as a private, and I interacted with him slightly. But I stayed following him through this whole COVID thing and all that stuff. And then around 2020, end of 21, beginning of 22, that's when DANKMEMESFORDRAGONTEENS started. Cotton came back to IG in early 2022 after his whole COVID thing that was self-inflicted on himself. And I messaged him from the Dank Memes thing because he started liking some of the posts. I was like, my first mistake was saying, oh, man, away.
Hold up, maybe you cut out a little bit there. Let's try Signal real quick. Maybe that'd be better.
So the first mistake I made was basically messaging him and be like, oh yeah, hey, it's me, by the way. So then from that point on, Cotton started trying to take credit for Dank Memes, be like, oh, it's because of me that you exist. I'm like, okay, man. And then he started the beginning of his Ghost Army thing where he would take Fancy Bear, me, Memeing Eagles at one point, once Eagles started, and some other pages, and he'd basically just put us in these group chats and be like, okay, why are we here? And he'd be like, oh, you guys are my Ghost Army. It's like, okay, man, whatever.
That's kind of weird.
We were like, okay, we don't really want to interact with you, and because we had our own group chats, but not. There's a lot of group chats that people are in, but he's never in any of them. He just makes these and tries to claim us as his own.
That's possessive. That's very possessive and weird.
And you see in if you look at some of his more recent posts, he's like, oh, I paved the way for Terminal CWO and all that. He tries to put himself in the same category as Terminal CWO and Army with the fuck buttons, which he's not. Anyway, so...
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Terminal CWO is up there with WTF moments. You don't just claim something like that.
No, exactly. And, he says that he has these, so I'm not a psychologist, but I would argue that he has a very big, main character syndrome where he thinks that he has a hands in everything in the army, and that, and that kind of, if you understand that about him, it informs you on why he does the things he does. He thinks in his heart of hearts that the Army's asking him to do all these investigations, to quote unquote take all these cases, and they're not, and none of his shit goes anywhere, and he thinks it does.
That's,
So,
yeah.
and I mean, and if you look at his career, right? So he started out in the old guard, working at a detail at the Pentagon that doesn't exist anymore, which is how he posted about it. That's how he got his SecDef badge or whatever. And then he went to 3CR. The preponderance of the reports from there is that he was a shitbag and he dodged a deployment, and then he volunteered to go to drill sergeant school.
Yo, sorry to cut you off. I want to say something to that. So, when I was messaging him in the scenes, when I first figured out he was kind of like a turd, I asked him why he's been in since 2009 and he hasn't deployed. Because when I joined and went to Fort Bragg, all my squad leaders had deployed between the years 2009 and 12 and 13. So surge guys. And this dude was in the time of GWAT where we were murdering people. And I'm like, how did he not get there? And he's like, oh yeah, on God, I raised my right hand. I just couldn't do it. They wouldn't let me. I volunteered so much. And I'm like,
no, he didn't. Like, he went to the old guard, and then he went to 3CR, and then 3CR was going to deploy, and then he had a mental breakdown or whatever. He used some bullshit excuse to get out of it. And then he volunteered for drill sergeant school. And then he went to the drill sergeant, went on the trail for 3 years, and that was during COVID, and that's when he got himself in trouble. And where a lot of his, the shenanigans and delusions really started. That's where Tom Jackson comes from, because Tom Jackson was his NCOIC and was trying to hold him accountable. And he's like, oh, he tried to kill me. He's like, no, he didn't try to kill you. He tried to make you come into work like everyone else during COVID because you didn't have a positive COVID test. And then, he got disciplined, and then he got smoked. And he's like, oh, they tried to kill me. It's like, no, you got smoked. Like, it's not that bad, dude.
And let me go into detail. So I showed you those screenshots. I was talking to Cotton Hill, and I'm like, how bad did he smoke you? Because, like, there are restrictions on smoking for a reason, but you got to really push someone to almost kill them. And they don't normally do that unless you're in, like, RASP or something. And he said, yeah, he smoked me for 45 minutes. I'm like,
I was smoked worse than that as a private. Like,
dude, when I was a private, I got smoked for 20 hours on a staff duty shift. Like,
yeah, no, but this is his other problem, right? Because, like, he has no frame of reference. He wasn't. If you think about it, he wasn't really on the line. He was in the old guard, and then he goes to 3CR, spends a significant chunk of that time on rear D, and he commanded a striker or Bradley or whatever. He was, sergeant. It's like he spent all of his private time on the Pentagon, and it's like he has no frame of reference for really being skull dragged. So, like, the first time he actually got skull dragged, he's a staff sergeant. Like, he's like, they tried to kill me. It's like, no, you were being a shitbag. I spoke to a few people. I won't say who they are, but, like, there's people out there that had him as a drill sergeant, and they're all like, yeah, no, we thought we made fun of him. So he does all that, and then, 3.5 years ago, where the drama really started was, so I was on his, before Dank Memes even was a thing, I was on his page commenting my personal account, and I was in the comment section with this, and there was a girl there, and, like, her and I were talking in the comment section, so I followed her, and then, like, a week later, she posted a photo. I was like, oh yeah, like, you look cute, and then we started DMing, and then, because, like, I assumed that she was, like, 20, because she was, like PB2, she looked like she was 20. I was 27, 26 at the time. And then she's like, oh, no, I'm 17. I'm a delayed entry soldier in the Guard. I'm like, oh, my bad. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't know. She's like, yeah, no, it's fine. Like, I look older. Like, no big deal. I was like, okay, cool. So Cotton was following this girl, too. And he messaged me, like, a day later. It was like, hey, by the way, she's like, I saw the cute thing. Like, she's 17. I was like, I didn't know when I said that, but now I do. It's fine. He's like, okay, yeah, like, no big deal. I'll just let you know. It's like, okay, cool. Like, completely innocent, and that's the end of it. And that was, like, 3.5 years ago. So then you fast forward, right? And so there was a guy named Dirtbag Specialist, and he was originally in Alaska. And during one of like the meme tournament things, one of the other pages introduced me to him, and then he said in the group chat about how he was getting an Article 15, and he was innocent, but he didn't know how to defend himself. So I was like, you know what, I'll help you. But I messaged him on Facebook Messenger, my own personal Facebook account, which was another mistake of mine. And I coached him through how to go through his hearing, what to say, and all that other stuff. I was like, here's my number, reach out if you need anything. Like, if you want me to speak in your hearing on your behalf, I will, over phone. Obviously, because I'm not in Alaska. But, I tried to help him. That gave him access to my personal photos, though, which was a mistake. Because then, a couple months later, he PCS, so his Article 15 thing gets resolved, and he PCSs to brag. And then he's in the group chat with some brag pages that I'm in, and he's being, like, super racist, super immature. Bearing in mind, like, he's, like, 20, 21 at the time, and, like, all of us, I was, like, probably the youngest one in the group before him. At that point, I was, like, 20, 28, and everyone else was, like, in their 30s. Everyone else is, like, an officer or field grade. Like, we're mature, and, we're trying to, like, we make memes, but we're also trying to fix things. And he's just spouting off, like, some sexist, racist, shit in the chat. It was, like, annoying me and other people. So, like, he dropped the N-word, like, every second sentence. So, like, I removed him from the chat. And then as an immature, early 20-year-old with multiple Article 15s does, he then takes my personal photos from my Facebook and, like, posts me to, like, dox me. And then he immediately took them down after everyone was like, dude, what the fuck? So then, fast forward a few months after that, then there's another big meme tournament that I'm in, and all the competitors are in a group chat. And at that time, I was still a single dad. I had the 2 kids. One of them was a girl. And she was at that point beginning to, like, go through, like, growing up things, but, like, I was the only adult in the house, didn't have any other female around.
That's
so
hard.
I asked the group chat, it is. And I asked the group chat, real quick to backtrack. So Cotton claimed that, like, when I commented that the girl was cute, that I was married. I wasn't. I was divorced at that point.
Hold on, you cut out for a little bit. Hey, dude.
Not a huge deal.
You cut out a little bit
So,
right before you said you're married. What'd you say before you were married?
No, so Cotton claimed that when I said this girl was cute, I was married. I wasn't. I was divorced already. But that's just a small detail. But, like, I figured I'd clarify that. But anyway, so yeah, I was a single dad. I was taking care of the kids by myself, and my daughter was going through changes. So in the group chat, there was dudes who were dads in there. So I was like, hey, to the dads in the group, just looking for advice. Like, how did you handle your daughter going through changes? Like, and they're like, well, what do you mean? Like, asked the mom, like, well, I'm the single dad. I'm the primary parent. The mom's not around. Like, I'm doing all this myself. Like, it feels awkward for me. Like, 'cause she's, like, growing up in front of me. Like, now she wants bigger girl clothes, and she wants, I have to buy her feminine hygiene products, and I don't really know how to have that talk with her and all that stuff. So I was just asking for advice. And Dirtbag, being an immature little prick, was like, oh, he's sexualizing his daughter. So then a couple months later, Cotton makes a group chat with Dirtbag, the girl that he's been following this whole time, that, from the Instagram post, and some other people. And so I've heard this from Dirtbag and all the people in the chat, because now all the people in the chat have turned on Cotton. But basically, Cotton gaslit everyone. It was like, oh, you won't believe this. Dank Memes is a pedo. There's all these girls. I'm taking all their cases. Like, I have all the proof. I sent it all to Army What the Fuck moments. I sent it all to Terminal CWO. I sent it all to Task and Purpose. Like, they're going to do a whole big post about him. CID's going to grab him. Like, do you guys want to post about this with me? Everyone's like, oh, yeah. So, the truth of the matter is that none of that was true. He sent his quote-unquote evidence against me to Army What the Fuck moments and Task and Purpose and Terminal CWO. And all three of them, who I've spoken to, told him that he had nothing there, that they looked into it, and there's literally nothing there. So, he needs to stop. And he knew that before people in the group that he had this quote-unquote evidence against me. So he lied to them, and he lied that he had evidence, but then he also lied to them about how the other big people were going to post about it. So then he told Maya, he was like, and, because Maya and I have spoken about this, and, she apologized for everything, and Cotton ended up sharping her, and, she has a protective order against him now. But Maya was like, so Cotton went to Maya and was like, hey, remember when he called you cute? And she was like, yeah, but, he didn't do anything. It was just a mistake, he didn't know. And then he was like, oh, well, you're just the tip of the iceberg, so can I use you in the post? And she's like, well, and then she was like,
that's where that came from. Because that's what convinced me at that time that you were a pedo at that time. Is, God, dude is so manipulative.
Yeah, so he was like, hey, can I use you as a post? Can I use your face? Can I use your story? And she's like, yeah, if I'm just the tip of the iceberg and there's all these other girls, then yeah, of course. Because she has a good heart. I don't blame her for any of this. So then he posted about it, but he only posts using her. And he's like, oh, I got the girl, the victim, Maya, she's an NCO, trust her, all this other stuff. So then, first Army What the Fuck. So first, I credit to Army What the Fuck moments and Terminal CWO. They got Cotton to at least take down my face after a weekend or 2 days of him posting. He posted on Pearl Harbor weekend. So at least first they got him to take down that. But then I saw text messages from the group chat. So then after a few days, Maya was like, so you posted about me, but where are all the other girls? You said you had all this evidence and everything, and all these other girls, and you're investigating for them. Are you going to post about them too? And then Cotton in the chat was like, to her, was like, oh, well, there has to be other girls. There's probably other girls. There must be. So then she was like, so there are none. You're just assuming, and I'm paraphrasing, but it's and I let you use my name, face, and story to try to magnify this that didn't actually exist, and he didn't actually do anything wrong to me. And she reached out to me and was like, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, hey, I don't blame you, but he listens to you clearly, so try to get him to take down the shit about me. I'm not even gonna ask him to issue a retraction because it's whatever. It hurts, but it's most. I would say, I think what hurt the most was the amount of people that no one that mattered to me in my life actually believed it, but the amount, the army of just terminal E4 types that would just follow his page and then just started blowing up all my posts with oh, you need to go to a wood chipper, you're a pedo. And they'd message my personal account on Facebook or Instagram, be like, you need to die, you should die.
Oh my God, that must have been so fucked, dude. I can only imagine.
Because I'm also deployed right now, so it's it was rough. But I'm not blaming you, but you also believed him at first too.
I did, yeah.
But so anyway, that was going on. So then Maya reached out to him to get him to stop. And then some other people were talking to Dirtbag and were was he sexualizing his daughter? And then Dirtbag, at that point, Dirtbag finally came forward. Was like, you know what? He didn't. I was just being petty. I retracted. So then Dirtbag retracted. And then So then that was half Cotton's reason for posting me, saying I was a child rapist and like kids and all that stuff. I'm trying to think if I missed anything from the beginning. I mean, there was a few truces worked out, like where he said he would stop posting, and I would like, okay, and then he would come after me again for no reason. So like, but this is before he spiraled. So then Maya messages him, and then Cotton blows up at Maya, and basically that's when he has all the text messages about, I'm going to fuck your face, I want to pregnate you, like I want to make Russian babies with you, and all that other stuff. So that's when Maya blocks him and reports him. And then at this point, so if you think about, the mindset here, so this is probably like 2 weeks into it, a week and a half into it. So at this point, like, Terminal CWO, who like Cotton idolized, was like, dude, you're fucked. Like GWAT Batman, all these other people, his most ardent followers believed everything he said, but like anyone of any actual credibility didn't believe him. And then, the person he posted it with about that he was like, oh yeah, no, he's a child rapist or pedo, like retracted it and said, yeah, never mind, like it's not true. And then the person that he was saying is his victim also said it wasn't true, and then called him out for like, with me for like lying and making up a false story to get them to be like, oh yeah, no, he is. So that's when he started spiraling, and that's when he had the video of him chasing his wife in their house, and was drinking, and that's when he spiraled and got picked up by the PD. Now, that same weekend he spiraled, he also started attacking Tom Jackson again, who's in the 82nd now. So Tom Jackson and I filed protective orders and no contact orders against Cotton or Mike. So then, with his whole story and facade crashing around him, and then him attacking his wife, then he also had his unit issuing him no contact orders, protective orders against him from Jackson and I. Then he posted the revenge porn thing for the female that's sergeant stationed in Texas. So that got sent to CID. And then the text.
Hey, we're back. Sorry, pick it up where we left off.
Yeah, sure. So there's the female soldier in Texas that he posted revenge porn of. So at this point, he's got 2 MPOs, 2 sharp complaints against him, and the Columbus PD rolled him up, and he got sent to the 4th floor at Fort Moore for 11 days. While there, he assaulted 5 hospital staff, and the MPs had to detain him. So when he posted the picture of his bruising on his arms, it's because the MPs had to detain him because he kept on assaulting staff.
Very victim mentality. Very victim mentality right
yes.
there. As a patient,
it was toxic army, of course.
As a patient of Grippy Sock Jail, if I ever got like, sometimes you get built up there, I never once thought to put my hands on staff or threaten them. Like, I never, like, it's their job to take care of you as well. So for him to like attack them, like, that's just fucked up.
No, but according to him, though, it's a toxic army.
Yeah, that's just fucking victim mentality.
So he's there for 11 days, gets diagnosed bipolar, comes back, and he's had his weapons taken from him. His wife's left him, although he kept on trying to claim that he left her, and no, she left him. And then he didn't talk about Jackson and I. He referred to us vaguely, but I was like, all right, like, we'll take it. And then he just said fuck it and started attacking Jackson and I again, and then attacked Carly, the female from Fort Hood or from Texas, and then attacked Maya, and then he was like, he posted one day and completely changed his tune and was like, you know what, Maya, I'm coming after you and Dirtbag because you lied about Dank, who's a good man, and destroyed his reputation. And then I was just like, oh, okay, like, we're cooking with gas here. Like, this is something. And then, like, the next day, he just went back to calling me a child rapist and a pedo again. So it's kind of hard to follow. You know, he's had like 10 posts or so where it's like, oh, I'm done. Like, I can't take it anymore. Just leave me alone. And then, like, the next day, he'll post some bullshit. Yeah, that's where we're at now. So, like, he got counseled about his pending UCMJ, and he posted it and all the charges on it. And
Also,
he's getting kicked out.
one thing I'll say about that, so like so a lot of times whenever commanders, like, let's say you have a commander that just wants to get you an article just because they can. I had a soldier at Campbell that went through this. He got a sharp complaint from his team leader, but it was, every statement was contradicting itself, and it just would not have held up under court martial. So his attorney said, and I told my soldier, demand a trial by court martial because that's bullshit, and they chose not to do it. But here's the thing, though. If your brigade legal, or whoever the legal asset is, decides not to go forward with a court martial, that's because they don't have enough evidence. This man has literally provided the evidence to you, to the whole world.
And he texted his command the evidence, too. And, like, on his counseling, he said, yeah, I did all that, but, like, it doesn't matter. It's like, how do I put this? Because I want to be careful how I phrase this. All right, I'm not calling him Hitler, but if you look back historically, when Hitler attempted a coup, and I've said this to a few people who've asked about the situation, it's like when Hitler attempted a coup and failed in the beer hall puts, the Weimar Republic put him on trial, and the judge was sympathetic to Adolf, and basically just let him take the stand and pontificate for days on end about his manifesto and how he believes Germany's been mistreated by the Treaty of Versailles and this, that, and the other thing. And the whole point of him being tried for treason was lost. And the judge turned him into a sympathetic figure and basically gave him, quote-unquote, house arrest in, like, a jail apartment. That's where he wrote Mein Kampf. And then he got released, like, only after a few months, when he was meant to be in jail for, like, a decade. So Cotton, even though he's admitted to everything, publicly, privately, just command everything on his counseling, he thinks that an open military, and he thinks that if he requests one, that, like, Fox News and CNN are going to be cameras rolling in the courtroom, it's going to be live streamed, and, like, everyone can go watch it, and that he's just going to be able to take the stand and be like, you know what? I know that the charges are about this, but, Your Honor, and he thinks he's going to be able to just spew his bullshit, his manifesto on, like, for everyone to hear, which isn't, like how it works. And, all the charges they have against him, he's said, yeah, I did that, and he's admitted to it. There's evidence of it. CID has it, his command has it, and everything. And, like, what my concern for him is, part of me just wants him to go away. I feel bad for thinking that way, but he's put me through a lot. But I do feel bad because, like, when he actually talks to a legal and when he actually gets a lawyer to tell him, like, hey, this open court martial thing you keep talking about is not a thing. Like, you're being charged with disobeying lawful order, violating an MPO twice, that you have 2 sharp investigations against you that you've admitted to. Like, you've elected court martial, but you've admitted being guilty to all the things that you're being charged with. So, like, it's pretty open and shut. Like, you're pleading guilty for court martial. Like, you're going to get a federal conviction now. I think he's gonna crash even harder once that sets into him. But that's where he's at now. He, like, 2 days ago, he posted that, like, some college students from Auburn asked him to take a case for them, and he posted some random 18-year-old college freshman boy saying he's a proven rapist, and to contact, like, the Auburn police about him. And then he took it down, like, a day later. It's like, oh, well, the victims asked me to take it down. It's like, dude, like, you're just reaching now. Like, no fucking college girl who's, like, 18 or 19 from fucking Auburn, University of Auburn, reached out to your fucking page and asked you to post this shit. Like, it's another example of him just posting someone's face out there and being like, "Oh, they did this. Trust me, bro." It's like, "Where's the evidence? Trust me, bro." Like, someone asked him in the comments, like, "Okay, like that's a pretty serious allegation. Where's the evidence?" "Oh, trust me, I'm investigating for the victims." It's like, dude, shut the fuck up. You're not. You're trying to make yourself like the center of everything, and you just want attention. And he's like, "Oh, the Army told me I can't take any more cases for them, so I'm just gonna do private stuff now." It's like, dude.
Can
I
I?
never asked you to take a case.
I'll also tell you this: when so your page, Fancy Bear, U.S. Army WTF moments, and then even that terminal warrant officer. Sorry, what was that warrant officer again? What was his name? I don't follow him.
Shoemaker.
Yeah, Shoemaker. The Army doesn't go to these pages. Like Forces Command and Washington, they don't. In fact, there's a news article about this. They find them as a nuisance. I mean, I'm a civilian now, but you and all the current service members reach out to them when the system fails and exposes it as a form of media like Fox News. But instead of, because no one gets on Fox News easily, but what you can do is somebody who knows how the military works posting it on a media page. That's what they're there for. No, like, the Army has CID. That's a program for the Army to do investigations. That's who they're reaching out for. No one's going, "Oh my goodness, Cotton Hill, we need him to investigate this." Like, it's just fucking nonsense.
No, it is. But I want to be fair to the Army as a whole, because not every command, not every commander is equal. I mean, I won't name commanders, but I mean, there's brigade and battalion level commanders on Bragg that, like, people have messaged stuff going on in their units or companies. And, like, I won't post it. I'll just be like, okay, like, what battalion or company are you in? Okay, like, who's your commander? Cool. I'll just go on global and call them or send them a message. Be like, hey, like, DANKMEMES here. Before I reach out to them, I do a little bit of digging, right? Because you can't believe everything every E4 sends you. There has to be some journalistic standards. I mean, I'm not a journalist, but there has to be some kind of standards, right? Like, an E4 saying, "Oh yeah, my commander did this, trust me, bro," like, that's not really enough for me. Like, I kind of want to get a feel for more from different perspectives. And so, I'll reach out to anyone I know in that unit, and generally it's people of different ranks, positions, and be like, "Hey, like, what have you heard about this?" And then I'll basically compile everything and get, like, what I think is the general picture. And I'll like reach out to the commander and be like, "Hey, look, sir, ma'am, DANKMEMES here. Like, I'm not going to post about your unit publicly. I don't want you guys getting drama flack, and it doesn't do anything. But, like, this is what I've been told. Boom, boom, boom." And, like, 9 times out of 10, they're like, "You know what? I really appreciate it. I'll look into it. We'll figure it out. We'll fix it." And, like, at the end of that's it. Like, the unit doesn't get blasted. The soldier that had him, and we all move on. One out of 10 times, right? Like, the command will be like, "All right, fuck you." I'll be like, "Okay." So I just go to the level above them, and I just keep going above it until it eventually gets fixed. But command's just like, "Oh, cool. We appreciate you not flaming us. Like, we'll look into it." And most of the time, it's, I have a pretty high success rate. Like, most of the time, like, what I assess is the situation going on from all the people I speak to is what's actually going on, and it just gets resolved, and we all move on. But, like, again, not all commanders across the force are like that. I think generally, and this is my 82nd bias here, I think generally, like, 82nd, 18th Airborne Corps leadership as a whole is different than 3 Corps.
I can confirm you're right. And I was still under 18th, and when I was at Campbell, I can promise you the leadership quality there is better. I don't want to say their word is more credible, because some people even there can lie, but the amount of quality there is definitely, I can confirm that.
But I think the meme, if you look at the preponderance of the meme pages online, most of them are from 18th Airborne Corps. You got the Tropic Lightning and Alaska boys as well. But, like, there's really not a lot of shit out of, like, 3 Corps land. So, like, if there's ever a 3 Corps issue, it's like, I've never gotten anywhere good with them. The armor units, I mean, you had specialists in charge of 4th ID and 4th SIN, but, like, 1st Armor, 1st Cav, those units, like 3 Corps as a whole, like headquarters as a whole, like they don't have a sense of humor. I think you need to have leaders that have a sense of humor and enough self-awareness to like be able to take a joke and own up to like having a gap. And I found that at least on Bragg, that's a lot more common. I mean, Laniv hated the meme pages, but General Donahue sees utility in them. General Work doesn't have an opinion either way on them, I would say, but doesn't think they're a net negative. As long as you have that and like leaders that are just human and like are willing to be like, you know what, like, meme pages are not meant to attack. In my opinion, the best use of meme pages is to not attack things. It's to just basically be a public sounding board and almost like an ongoing command climate survey, right? Where you can kind of assess how a battalion, brigade, company is doing based off of how that unit's meme page is posting. And I think that's the utility in it for a leader is like, if you're a brigade commander or a battalion commander, like your battalion is a meme page, your brigade is a meme page, you can kind of get a good sense of what the formation's thinking based off what the page posts, and you'll get more honest feedback on it than like the command climate surveys they send out where people don't really want to be honest on them. I think the leaders that realize that, which there's plenty in the Army that do, that have an online presence that like look at that, I think they're by and large more successful than the ones that don't.
Agreed. Oh, are you there? Did you cut out?
No, I'm still here.
Okay. I guess, yeah, that's pretty cool with the meme pages. One thing, too, though, I'll say, WTF moments definitely, like, you know who ICE is, right?
Yeah.
When I tell you this man's a psyop, he's a psyop. He was one of the people I reached out to about you, and he said you're not a pedo or any of that. And then he scolded me. He said, see why we don't post screenshots or share screenshots? I said, okay, ICE, I get it. Calm down. And that is just, he is definitely above that. He messes with algorithms. He does things that I'm not even aware of. Versus other meme pages. Like, I don't think you're out here messing with algorithms and stuff like that, though, Jake. But one thing I know about him is he is impartial. He does not post stuff unless he knows beyond a reasonable doubt, yes, this is the truth. And that's pretty cool. But like other than the fact that meme pages, I think they just entertain the troops.
I mean, yeah, I'd agree there. I mean, I don't post something unless I'm like 90 to 95% sure it's hitting the mark. I'm a very big believer in if there's smoke, there's fire. If I get, if you get a bunch of stories about a commander being toxic, maybe not all of them are 100% true, but
no, especially today, man.
There's toxicity there.
There is, yeah. Like, I know for a fact. So sometimes when you have a commander that's making you do your job, you don't like them. But that doesn't mean they're a bad commander, And I get that.
I've told soldiers that. Because, there have been plenty of soldiers that would be like, oh, my commander made me do this. I'm like, well, do you know why he made you do that? They're like, no. It's like, well, probably because this is a bigger perspective of the Army than just, your squad and the team.
Yeah, and that's another thing, too. Now, and you can even have everybody just not like you. But that's where you have to look at Big Army and how the Army operates. If they're taking care of the mission and they're taking care of you. Like, I remember 101 Meme and Eagles. I didn't see this, but I heard somewhere that somebody sent him a message saying, hey, our leadership is keeping us out in the field and they're only feeding us MREs. Well, okay.
Yeah.
They can do that, right? What's wrong with that? Versus when I was in JRTC with the 101st and they starved us for 4 days and the fucking OCs went to our supply chain and stole MREs and water, handed it to us and said, your leadership's fucking trash. I didn't post about it because we got fed and I didn't have a need to post about it, but somebody stuck up for us. So, And even in that
But
situation,
there's a difference there. It's like,
yeah,
I don't know. You're younger than me, so I'm not trying to criticize you, but I think
you're right. It
the
is.
younger
I agree too.
they don't. God, I feel like such a back of my day type saying this because I'm under 30, but like, I didn't. Maybe it's just me being biased, but when I came in as a private, I got smoked, and I wasn't Captain America, but like I felt that me and all the other privates that came in with me did not bitch and were way more resilient and effective than like privates now.
Oh no, you're 100% right.
But I also think that that's generationally, like every few years, like the new guys think that,
Yeah.
So I don't know how much of it's that, because I don't want to be like one of the back of my day types, but I mean I do notice a difference. I don't know, but I don't know if that's an Army problem or just a generational problem, because the Army at the end of the day is also a microcosm of what our society is. So generational issues from a society point of view aren't necessarily caused by the Army. The Army just, the Army recruits who they recruit. Like, it is what it is.
Totally.
So I don't.
Yeah.
I can't fault the Army for it necessarily.
I'll tell it to you like this, man. So I joined in 2017. I got to brag in December of 2017. So 2018, early on, that's when things started changing. But in my eyes, certain things changed for the better that I think you and I agree will change. Like, they definitely sought more to take care of guys instead of just break them down. But I saw growth and development in the Army going into 2019. 2020, I actually thought 2020, we did it. We're going to get better from here. And then 2021 happened. In 2021, I saw a huge shift in culture of new guys coming in. Like, there was always
There's a reason to that as well, though. If you think COVID didn't really start, right? I mean, the lockdown and COVID started in 2020, but from a leadership perspective, the mass influx of like COVID BLC NCOs that basically did like virtual BLC, or basically got to skip almost all of BLC. That didn't really start manifesting in the Army until like 2021, and then it exacerbated the problem, or exacerbated the issue, because in my opinion, once 2021, 2022, you just had this wave of like, well, like a lot of the mid-level NCOs were all like the COVID crop, and there's a lot of people that got promoted during COVID that should not have gotten promoted, and you didn't necessarily see the cost of that until about a year into it or so, in my opinion.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because I went to BLC in 2021, but I went after the COVID thing ended, and we were able to go there. We wore masks, but we did the full BLC stint. We still got quite a bit out of it. But I do remember the online ALC, BLC thing, and I'm like... And then when I went to Campbell, and I saw... There were great leaders at Campbell, but then the bad ones were so bad that, I don't know, could be my bias from Bragg. They would have probably been QMP'd. That's how bad they were in my eyes, the bad ones.
Well, I mean, again, it's all relative, though, because just like we have to be careful. I mean, like, when I first got to the 82nd, I hated my life, and I would say that there's a few people that were NCOs and officers in charge of me that I'm like, this piece of shit. And upon like reflecting about it and growing up and looking back at it, I would say half them were just being tough, and the other half were still pieces of shit. But like, I would say half the people I thought were pieces of shit were not. And that comes with growing and having a bigger perspective on the Army and moving beyond just looking at things from like a D4 level. I think the 82nd as a whole, and this isn't an attack at the 101st. I've just never been in the 101st. I've only ever known Fort Bragg. But I think the 82nd as a whole is a very unique place in the Army. And what I mean by that is, you know, obviously there's the people that get RFS or fail selection at the 82nd, but to get to the 82nd, you have to get through your OSIT or AIT as a new private, and then you have to get through Airborne school, which, you know, isn't the hardest school in the Army to pass. But, you
can still die though.
Out of Airborne school.
You can.
Yeah, but also people drop. Like if you're retarded, right, you can't pass a PT test. Like you're going to fail Airborne school. And so it's like there's a guardrail where if you're getting to the 82nd as new private, you've at least had to pass an Army school. And, you know, because like if you're like retarded and you graduate OSIT, you can go right to third ID. You can go right to first ID or first CAV. There's nothing stopping you. But like if you go to Airborne school and you're a fucking retard or a moron or an undisciplined fuck and can't do attention to detail, all that stuff, like you're really bad at it. You'll fail. So I think the quality of people in the 82nd is higher. Because like you can be at the 101st and technically you can be not aerosol qualified. They'll just keep sending you.
Don't. Exactly. I think it was my third attempt I went. I argue I could have gotten more preparation time, but that's just what they do. They send you until you go. At one point, anyone in Strike Brigade, which is 2nd Brigade, they sent everyone that was not aerosol qualified. So I think they sent like, I don't know. Let's see, what's brigade? About 4,000. I think they sent 1,500 people into one class. It was crazy. And only 700 passed. Only 700 passed though. Yeah, go ahead.
Which is not, but like what I'm saying is like you could still be in the 101st and not have aerosol wings. I mean, technically you could be in the 82nd and not have wings if you're like in the BSB, like the finance company, or like in the CAB.
Yep.
But I just think, you know, the 82nd is definitely I feel like generally it's a higher quality of people. And I think you have to really want to be in the 82nd to be in the 82nd, which means people are generally more motivated. I think the mission set's unique because, like, the 82nd's not sending brigades to Europe to do the fucking bullshit NATO deployment TDY like the 101st is.
No, they only sent 3rd Brigade. I know this because I was in strike when we went to Poland. We replaced 3rd Brigade, but 3rd Brigade went there because they were EJR'd there, and that was it. And everyone was like
they're never EJR'ing the 82nd there, though.
They're not after that. Once it was determined the rotations were going, and the Campbell kind of took the brunt of that, along with what the fuck is Hood's name now? Whatever Hood's name is now.
Cavazos.
Yeah, Cavazos. They took the fucking brunt of that. And then people were...
The 82nd's got like a unique mission.
It does. And also, it performs under chaos. Like, people in the 101st were like, yo, dude, you were in the 82nd? I'm like, yeah, why do these guys suck so bad? I said, whoa. I can promise you, the battalion I was part of could smoke this entire brigade. Don't tell me they suck. He's like, but they're so unorganized. I said, yes, the 82nd is unorganized. The unit can drop.
The whole army.
But the 82nd knows how to take that unorganization and perform excellently in it. The 101st can't do that. They've tried to EJRE. I don't know if you do follow Mean Eagles. One guy said they tried to do it. They can't. They just don't understand it. And to them, organizing things and looking good is what makes them a great unit. And it's what actually makes them suck, in my opinion. The 82nd doesn't give a fuck about looking good in certain aspects. It's, we got to go to war. We got to fucking go now. That's the point.
I would take Red Devils as a battalion over any conventional infantry battalion in the entire army.
Same, dude. I love Red Devils. I was only there for a short time before I got kicked out, but when I got to Red Devils, compared to Two Fury, the morale was there. Two Fury was toxic as fuck. Red Devils was too, but the difference is it wasn't as toxic, and there was teamwork, camaraderie, and just happiness, and then equipment. The cops weren't as good as Two Furies, but the arms rooms were always tacked out with nice stuff. Every M4 had working technology on it, working optics, working PEC 15s, dual tube nods for just about everybody. When I got to the 101st, you want to know what type of nods I got issued?
PVS 14s?
No, I got PVS 7s. I'm not even joking.
Oh,
you know what those are, right? That was from the 03 invasion.
Yeah.
And that's if we had enough of them. We would send dudes to the field without knots, which is mind blowing. Also, why I didn't care for the 101st, because they do stuff like that.
The 82nd Red Devils, as a former Red Devil, Red Devils is a very unique battalion that, you know, if anyone wants to shit on the 82nd or 1st Brigade, or the 82nd as a whole that's not in division, our response will always just be like, all right, like, have you ever been in Red Devils? They're like, and like always, it's like, no. It's like, okay, then shut the fuck up.
Also, if I'm not mistaken, during the EJ to Afghanistan, Red Devils was the first one on the ground, right? Out of the whole brigade, or am I wrong about that?
I believe that, yeah, Mike Jordan was the first one on the ground with Red Devils.
So you want to know something about the EJ? So at that time, I had just graduated. I was in BLC during the EJ. I was in 2 Fury Delta Company, right? So when that was going on, I graduated BLC and I returned, and I was getting ready to out process for PCS leave to Campbell, and our battalion commander, Colonel Bell, took us aside. We had this like auditorium meeting at the theater, and he said, listen guys, you want to know something about the 82nd? General, what was it? McGee, that fucking piece of shit. McGee was the division commander at the time. They called the 101st to go to Afghanistan. They were supposed to EJ there, but the division commander said, hey, I can't get a brigade there within I need 3 days to get a brigade there. So General, Donahue was division commander, so Carilla was the corps commander, hung the fucking phone up on him and called Donahue, who was our division commander at the time, and then he sent 1st Brigade right away.
Well, that again, that's because the 82nd is the only, division that has someone on the one that can go anywhere in a few hours.
It really is. I didn't believe it. I thought the Army was like the 82nd, and I went to Campbell, and they just couldn't grasp it whatsoever. It was wild.
Yeah, that checks.
I regretted leaving the 82nd, but I'm going to ask this out of order. So
yeah, sure.
We'll go to number 4. So what was your view? You kind of answered this a little bit, but what was your view of the 82nd when you were in versus when you left? Because now you're Reserve Civil Affairs, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, well, I mean, so my views never changed. I love the place, but I also haven't left Bragg. So, and I've been on jump status pretty much the entire time. So, I never really left it, if that makes sense, because, I mean, I was at 18th Airborne Corps headquarters for a few years. So it's like I still jumped on, empty shoots with the 82nd here and there. And, being a jumper on Bragg, I mean, I'm basically just down the road from the 82nd. So it's like I never really left. No matter where I go in my career, I will always say I'm an 82nd boy. And my view is to me, Bragg, or the 82nd, is home. And, I spent now almost basically my entire career at Bragg, and Bragg, which is most of my adult life. So, Bragg's basically like my second home. And, it holds a special place in my heart. And with that, the division does. Red Devils, White Devils hold a special place in my heart. 18th Airborne Corps headquarters holds a special place in my heart. It's my home. That's really all I can say about it.
Amen, brother. Like, when I got kicked out, I fucking cried. And that wasn't because I was getting kicked out, honestly. It was because I was leaving the Deuce. I loved Red Devils, and I loved it there. I was so sad to go, because when I left Fort Bragg and went to Campbell, 6 months I realized my fuck up. And the whole time, I kept telling myself I got to go home. And what I mean by going home is going back to the 82nd. It does something to you. I never had pride in the 101st. I love the history. That's why I went there. I went there for different leaders I had that came there, but the 82nd lives up to what it's always done since World War I. And no one understands that till they go there and leave.
Yeah, you don't really know what you have until you lose it.
Yeah, like everybody shit on Two Fury. Two Fury was considered the worst battalion in the 82nd, at least at the time I was there. But when I left and went to the 101st, I went, wow, I was in the worst battalion in the 82nd, and they could absolutely destroy these people. They could outclass them in just about anything. And that's when I fell in love with the division, was when I was at Campbell. I was like, no fucking way.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna end up back in the 82nd at some point.
So that was my next question. Are you planning to return to active duty? And most
yes, that is already in the works. I'm currently deployed right now, but I'm almost coming back to home to brag in a bit. And yeah, I'm gonna go back to full-time active duty. On brag, most likely, like 95% chance I'm going back to a unit on brag. So I don't know how the page is going to be handled then, because it's a lot different when you're a reservist running the thing, when you're not subject to UCMJ, than when you're on active duty in Mars. So I think the page might change a little bit, but I'll be at some point in 2025 this year. I will be back on full active duty on Fort Bragg. I'll leave it at that.
I'm sure you could still run the page, man. I think the people need it. You do post some funny shit on the page, but let's see. Viva La Vargas is active duty. You follow him. He posts a lot. I can give you my attorney's number. He's a military attorney. That way you absolutely, I know you're E6, regulations, but, if people know who you are and they're on your page, maybe that could help you.
I think so. It depends what unit I go to, right? And then if I know the leadership there, because I got to I don't want to get in trouble, but I'll put it this way, because I'm not going to say where I'm trying to go. I would not go to a unit on brag that I don't know someone there that's in leadership. So I'm going to play it by ear. I'll leave it at that, though.
Yeah, like myself, you've probably seen some of my content. I'm a civilian, so I can almost say whatever I want, but right now I'm in the process of going into the National Guard. But I'm already, what I've started doing is I've already started planning on when I do go back in and how that's going to play out. I can't say, the word faggot as much as I like to in uniform as I do on my channel, but, I'm planning for that. And I know I can still make good content for my viewers, even if I can't say faggot, which, frankly, I shouldn't be saying that, but I mean, some people like the entertainment.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta do what you gotta be who you can afford to be.
Exactly. But yeah, man, so I wanted to confirm here, so your page on Instagram, any other platform or just Instagram?
Yeah, just IG.
So
it's on Facebook, but it just default double post to Facebook, but all the interactions on IG.
So I'll leave a link down below, all caps, all one, all no spaces, Dank Memes for Dragonteens. And also, to tell you guys something, he's very good at getting back to people. I can only imagine how many people hit you up in the DMs box. It's crazy, but all the evidence he talked about proving his innocence, which is irrefutable, he can send it to you to show you himself. Also, to end...
I'm not going to send it out now. I mean, there's some CID stuff going on,
Well, okay. Well, still though.
Yeah. I feel at this point though, if anyone has it, believes Cotton, I mean, he's crashed out pretty hard. I would say, I don't think really anyone believes him. Even his main page got taken down, but even his other page, like, he's bleeding followers, and no one really. I think the only people following him now are just trying to watch him post more schizo stuff.
Pretty much, yeah. So also, I wanted to say, again, I texted you this, but I want to say on the internet, I am sorry for believing you were a pedophile. And because my buddy reached out to me, because my buddy was mad about the shit post. I didn't want to get into it, make it about me. We thought what you thought at the time. We're cool now. I wasn't even mad about it, but he was mad about it. He was like, yo, this dude's apparently a pedophile. I'm like, what? Okay. And then, you know, the whole thing was going on. And then you sent me those messages, which, if you saw my YouTube, I posted them. If you showing me the crazy ass shit Cotton was saying about Maya, which I posted on my YouTube channel.
Yep.
I realized, holy shit, this dude is not lying. And I am not gonna feel a certain way and go, damn, what are people gonna think of me? No, I'm gonna call myself out on the internet to make things right, because that's the type of content I give to my people. So again, bro, I'm sorry.
I didn't have to apologize, man. I appreciate it. What National Guard state are you gonna go to?
So I live in Pennsylvania now. I'm going to go to Pennsylvania right now. I want to deploy.
The PA Guard's right here with us. The PA Guard's in Africa here with us right now.
That's it, yeah. So that's what they told me. Recruiters said that they're going back to Africa and Kuwait. Whatever unit, the Guard is different from active duty. You know, you got different armories and shit. There's one here in Philadelphia where I live. I'm going to go to what armory is deploying. That's just my plan.
Yeah, because Paxton was here, and then they got replaced by Associator, and now I guess whatever their other brigade is going to CENTCOM.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be long, though, with my my history getting back in the Army. Luckily, despite the medical stuff that behavioral health did to me that fucked me, it looks like the VA has backed me up. So I know Genesis will have access to that, but we'll see. They're running me through. It's a long process getting back in now, so it won't be till February I'll hear shit.
Well, I mean, you'll be fine though. So I mean, I wish you luck on the CENTCOM thing.
Of course, man. Hey, thank you for coming on my YouTube channel. I really appreciate it, and I'm glad you got to speak your piece.
No, thanks for having me. Just drop me a message when you're going to drop your video.
Of course, man. It might take a while. I just uploaded my my cousin's video, but yeah. All right, guys.